Good evening and welcome to our Ogden City Redevelopment Agency meeting for September 8th, 2015. Let the roll call reflect that all board members are present with the exceptions of Board Member Wicks, who is asked to be excused tonight. We'll turn the time to Vice Chair White for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thanks. All right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now please join us for a moment of silence. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes of the special meeting of June 23rd, 2015. Board Member Blair.
Yes, thank you, Chair Heyer. I have reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate, and I would make a motion that we adopt those minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Blair, second by Board Member Garner to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, next is the reports from administration, establishment of Oakden Survey Area. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for convening tonight for this purpose solely. So tonight's consideration is proposed resolution 2015-13, and it's a resolution authorizing the establishment of a survey area that comprises this general area here on the map. So we have 26th Street on the bottom, 23rd Street on the top, Jackson, and Madison. So it's a 9-block area. And this action tonight is one step in many in the process of establishing a URA, a urban renewal area. You may recall that there's 3 types of areas: urban renewal, economic development, and community development. This is one of the more arduous areas to establish. It starts with the establishment of a survey area, which we're proposing tonight. The survey area in this case will likely be the same designated area as the official boundary, but that is yet to be seen. In addition to the establishment of the survey area, tonight's resolution also authorizes the creation of a blight study. URA is one of the specific differences in a URA is that there is a blight consideration. So the establishment of the boundary will allow us to go and on a parcel by parcel basis look at each one of those lots and come up with a determination of blight. Once that blight study is complete, then we would come before you again and share those findings. But we need to kick off the process with tonight's proposal. The purpose of this district is to bring about the important redevelopment of quite a number of areas in this boundary. You probably know this area as Oakden. That's underway. We want to capitalize on some of that momentum by seeing some additional development here on this block. The RDA and/or city, I'm not sure which, owns this vacant space here, and there's quite a bit of opportunity along Quincy, so we're hoping to see some development there. There's quite a bit of opportunity, on this block here. So the creation of this boundary is strategic to capture the investment that we've made here, to create a commercial center on this block, and to really see some significant change on the adjacent blocks around it. It does overlay the old Lester Park RDA. So there's the Lester Park RDA. So you see it goes a little bit more to the west. There's the commercial block that was in the middle. So it takes up another block to the west and another block to the northwest. This RDA expires it actually expired in 2012, but the haircut money, so the funds that are taken from the RDA and contributed to the recreation bond still are collected until 2018. So with the reestablishment of the Oakton URA, if approved, those revenues will still remain until 2018, and then new revenues will be captured in the new district. So it's kind of held harmless. This district was established in 1986. There has been some things that's happened in it, but not enough to catalyze the change that we'd like to see in the East Central. So that's why we're proposing, not amending it, but creating a new one that carries some of the old boundary lines.
Brandon, can you talk a little bit about if there is overlap with the tax increment?
So you can't collect tax increment twice. So the tax increment, so take this property here, for instance. This property would still generate the tax increment that is directed to the rec center until 2018. At that time, if the Oakton URA is established, then it would then just redirect that tax increment to the Oakton boundary. So it still all comes to the agency. It's just used in two different ways. In the first way that I described, it's meant to go to the recreation bonds. Once that expires, then we're able to use that tax increment as defined in the new Oakton URA plan.
And how many years is that planned for?
We've yet to get there. That'll come in a proposal of the draft plan. Tonight we're just talking about the survey area, but we expect that it's going to be anywhere from 15 to 20 years.
So what process, or can you review the process by which we are developing a new RDA? And are there any financial obligations tied to this situation?
Obviously, the creation of a district allows the agency to redirect the tax increment to the agency for the use of development purposes established in the plan. So that's one of the fiscal impacts. In terms of the cost of establishing the plan, there's a cost to the blight study, which we would, based on tonight's action, we would be incurring, and that's a cost incurred to the agency's budget. But other than that, there's staff time and those type of things. There's not a whole lot of cost in creating the RDA. There's public notice costs and those type of things that we bear.
What steps do we have to go through to develop this district?
If I may, Janine did a good job in putting those steps in your packet. So if I can just put this on the monitor there, I think that's a good summation of what the state statute requires. Thank you. So we are essentially on step one. Tonight's resolution is authorizing the adoption and designating the survey area. And then we would complete the blight study. Once the blight study is finished, then we would bring those findings before you set a public hearing and notify the property owners. And then if there is a finding of blight, then we would go through and prepare the draft project area plan, put that out for public comment as well, and then you folks as the agency would make a determination of approval of the draft plan. Once the draft plan is approved by the agency, then it goes to the city council for adoption by ordinance.
Is there a chance that you're going to adjust the boundaries when you do your blight study to see if the Oakton bungalows are pretty near done now, and would they maybe be carved out, or?
There's always a chance, you're right. Once we go through the blight study, the final boundary of the RDA could differ from the survey area. The survey area is our summation of where blight exists, and there's a process in which you determine blight. So if there's areas that blight doesn't exist, then it might make sense to carve those out of the final boundary. Okay. And that'll be presented to you in the draft plan.
Great.
And we can't just use last time's study.
I'm sorry?
We can't use last time's blight study, right?
That's a good point. So we did do a blight study and designated a survey area in a larger geographical boundary. I apologize for the focusing. So part of this blight study did incorporate our new proposed survey area, but unfortunately state statute restricts any new plans being developed off of a off of a blight study or survey area that's more than a year old. So we have to kind of do it again.
Or move faster.
Or move faster. I like option B.
Any more questions for Brandon? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Pleasure.
I'll make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2015-13.
I second it.
A motion by Board Member Garner, seconded by Board Member Stevens, to adopt Resolution 2015-13. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Blair?
Aye.
Board Member Garner?
Aye.
Board Member Gochner?
Aye.
Board Member Stevens?
Aye.
Vice Chair White?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye, that passes. Thank you. Look forward to the results of your survey. This is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding your concerns or ideas for the Ogden Redevelopment Agency. Please state your name and address clearly for the record. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay. Since there isn't any public here, we'll move on to comments from our RDA Executive Director.
Just quickly, I'd like to thank Tom and Brandon for the work they've put into this. I know in that area in particular, a lot of heavy lifting and focus has gone into some of the improvements, and you guys have done a great job with that, so we appreciate it.
Okay, comments from board members?
I'd like to thank those who had any part in developing our gang conference. The Ogden Police Department was very heavily involved with that, and still we have a lot of work to do in that area, but at least we are moving forward in several areas, so I appreciate those who had any part in that.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion by Vice Chair White, second by Board Member Blair. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This concludes the deliberations for the evening. Have a good night.